So let's talk about some eclipse lore. It is Saturday, April 6, 2024, with T-minus 2 days from when the path of totality crosses from Mexico to Newfoundland, actually probably this way. And today we are going to talk about the good, the bad, and the strange when it comes to eclipses. Legends and historical anecdotes, lore, basically. So yeah, let's just get into it. Now, it's hard to say when the first accounts of eclipses were recorded in history, but it is theorized that in about 3340 BCE that the first account was discovered in the form of a petroglyph. A petroglyph is a pattern that is etched into stone with individual dots. And these petroglyphs were found in County Meath in Ireland. The location that they were located in was an ancient tomb, of which the petroglyphs resembled concentric circles, which seemed to allude to the idea of some sort of major event that took place around the time of the construction of the tomb. And the best guess is that it was an eclipse. This would only be certain if it wasn't for the fact that the individual who made this claim also made the claim that he discovered the charred remains of about 50 individuals within the tomb, of which he claimed was a human sacrifice. There's no actual proof that it was a human sacrifice, but I will say that as an individual who would exist in ancient times, if you saw the sun go completely black in the sky, you were likely not going to act in a conventional manner. And we're going to be taking a look at some of the other behaviors that individuals have embodied during a solar eclipse. Hold on, I'm tempted to do this. So on that note, we move to ancient China. Around 1200 BCE, scribes around Anyang, and I had looked up the pronunciation for that, and I think I got it right, recorded on oracle bones consisting of oxen, shoulders, and tortoise shells that they had witnessed the sun being eaten by a great dragon. It had been a common belief that eclipses were essentially that, a dragon that had devoured the sun, of which the moment an eclipse would take place, it was up to all of the people of the region to bang on drums, shout into the air, and fling arrows into the sky until the dragon disappeared. Of course, the people would eventually win because the sun would get bright again and the moon would move away from the path of the sun. So something, correlation, causation. Of course, I'd really hate to be the guy that ends up getting killed by a stray arrow in the middle of this terrifying moment. Probably even worse if you were the guy right next to him who witnessed it. Because if an eclipse is not enough to make you think that the world is ending, an arrow flying out of the sky hitting your buddy probably will. Now, predicting solar eclipses was something that early civilization actually became pretty good at. Of course, there's a famous anecdote of the two astrologers who failed to predict a solar eclipse and were essentially put to death. The cusp of it is that a Chinese emperor, who is, of course, supposed to be known as a heavenly individual who is in the know of things that happen in the sky, was completely caught off guard, along with everybody else in the court and everybody basically in the region. Panic ensued. There were people running in the streets. There were individuals who thought that the dragon would never go away. And in the meantime, these two astrologers were drunk, were completely shit-faced. They were not very good at their jobs. And when it came time for them to report to the emperor decided and put them to death. I will say that in terms of all of the anecdotes that I am aware of that embody the phrase, "you had one job," this is definitely in the top 10. Sorry for the change of scenery, everyone. And finally, we are going to settle on one final anecdote in history that took place in ancient Turkey in the 6th century BCE during the Battle of Eclipse. Also pretty sure I got the pronunciation for that correct, but please let me know if I murdered it. In the records of the Greek historian Herodotus, two warring nations, the Lydians and the Medes, had been battling for 5 years over matters of conquest. Their armies were pretty well balanced, and neither side was able to really gain advantage over the other. And this war took place over the course of 5 years. But on the 6th year, in the middle of a battle, as each army struggled against each other, the sky became dark. As the eclipse took hold, the armies ceased fighting, and the leaders, in awe and fear, decided to assemble together and sue for peace. Almost as if it is a decree from the gods, the leaders of the Lydians and the Medes decide to arrange a marriage between their children in order to preserve the peace for decades into the future. It's a fascinating story, but I'll be honest, I'm a little upset. A certain source that I heard on audiobook mistook who was fighting for the Lydians and the Ionians, and I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to make a music joke. Something to the tune of, they were fighting over whether the B note in the scale was a flat or a natural. I hear your applause through the screen. That was a collection of anecdotes from ancient history surrounding solar eclipses. Figured this would be the perfect opportunity to share as we are about to enter into the totality of the 2024 eclipse. And I want to thank you for your time hanging out with me in these multiple settings. And also, I'm going to be doing more videos like this going forward, as I kind of like this gonzo approach to videography. If you enjoyed this content, please consider hitting that like button, consider subscribing, and check out www.chaoticandwriter.com, which is a small publication that I write and edit for that has information on world building, history, tabletop, RPGs, writing, all sorts of things. It has been a pleasure and a privilege, and I will see you in the next episode.